What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another Tottenham update on match day. No Sim today, but we have got Brian Daigle. How are we doing, my brother?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Hope you're well. Always a pleasure to be spending time with you. And yeah, match day. Let's go.
Semi-final day, so small game to contend with later. But we do have some transfers to talk about. The rumor mill going in overdrive once again. 8 days into the transfer window, one in, and Spurs and a lot of journalists, it looks like, are expecting many more. Well, a few more, shall I say? Many more is a bit of a stretch. But we're going to talk about first and foremost Milan Skriniar. L'Equipe saying that Tottenham, Villa, Galatasaray have all positioned themselves to sign Milan Skriniar. The defender is expected to choose his next club in the next few days. And Ben Jacobs says Skriniar is hoping to resolve his future this week or early next. Galatasaray remaining talks, but there's other interest, Spurs being one of the clubs that are, your favourite word, considering a move on a short-term basis. In terms of Skriniar, obviously a few years too late on Milan Skriniar, because I thought he would have been perfect in a Jose or a Conte system. I don't think he fits exactly what we're trying to do here, but with the numbers that we're so short on in centre back, it's kind of like you're not going to get much better than Milan Skriniar, are you?
You're not. And I will say, like you said, our time machine works. We've jumped in the DeLorean and gone back a few years. I think more Milan Skriniar is a fantastic defender. And when we were going for him at the time, I was so excited to get him. Obviously, it didn't materialize. When it comes to this, if you want to get bodies in and we say that we want quality, well, you're definitely getting quality with Milan Skriniar. I'm kind of like you. It's kind of like Dragusin, isn't it? He's a very, very good defender, but ball playing, not so much. Milan Skriniar, I would liken to a Nemanja Vidic, a real powerhouse, a real no holds barred defender, and I think he's a magnificent defender. Will he fit into our system? That's up for question. If we brought him in to make up the numbers, I think he's really pushing Romero or Van der Ven for a starting place. I think he's a wonderful defender.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of a starting space, I don't think he gets that at Tottenham if everyone's fit, just because of the fit to the system. I just think Romero and Van der Ven just fit the system a lot more than a Skriniar does. But what he does do is provide top quality cover. So if any of them get an injury, or we know they're not back until the end of January, beginning of February, so he'll get a lot of game time from then until then. And then obviously with any recurring injuries that we've seen all season pretty much, then he'll get minutes. So look, it also takes the burden off in terms of the cups and Europa League and all that kind of stuff. So I think it'll be a very good short-term deal, 6-month loan, but I probably wouldn't want to see him sign on a permanent.
Well, the way you mentioned injuries and suspensions, but you can also add it actually gives Ange an option for rotation, genuine quality rotation, like
Yeah,
for making a sub in the second half or whatever,
yeah.
to make sure these injuries don't reoccur. He can proper have a dependable defender. Is he eligible for Europe if we signed him? I know Spurs have got to juggle players to get him in, but is he eligible if we get him to play in Europa? Because
He would be. He wouldn't be eligible in the group phase, but we'll be able to change the squad after the group phase. But there's no such thing as cup tied in Europe anymore.
Oh, is there not?
No, it's only in English cup, domestic cups.
Okay, well then if we can get him, go get him, because I think even like you said, for 6 months he is genuine quality, and to get quality like him, you're paying big money even in January, aren't you? So if this deal can get done, you have to get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one we're going to talk about is his teammate, Randal Kolo Muani. It's like the Daily Muani now. Every single transfer window, we have another one. Well, this transfer window, it is Randal Kolo Muani. As Florian Plettenberg says that Muani has been given permission to leave PSG this month. However, PSG continue to insist that it must be a loan with an obligation to buy. Tottenham are pushing for him. Man United, Aston Villa and Juventus are all involved. Chelsea interested as well. Ben Jacobs says that Muani remains a top priority for Spurs. And Tutto Juve say that Tottenham made contact with Muani yesterday to discuss a potential move with his entourage. His entourage have indicated that Spurs will be a more suitable move for him than AC Milan or Juventus. The club are continuing to negotiate with PSG for the forward. Apparently, pretty much the only chairman and the only owner in the game that has a good relationship with Daniel Levy is the PSG owner, which is quite unbelievable. I look, I think it'll be a good signing. Do I think he's exactly what we need? No, because he's more of a striker, and I think we need a winger. But I
Hmm.
do think in terms of quality, I think he's a player that we should bring in because of, he's better than what we've got, in my opinion. So I would love to see him through the door. The sticking point here is obviously going to be the loan with an obligation to buy. Will we push that? Will we bite that bullet and do that loan with an obligation to buy, or are we going to keep pressing and try just get a loan with an option to buy?
Yeah, I mean, I heard from a couple of people yesterday that the sticking point from Spurs is the obligation.
Mm.
It's they want an option, but PSG are standing firm with the obligation. As I said when I did the update with Simon, it's not someone I'm very familiar with. Obviously, I speak to you very, very regularly, and you filled me in, and others have filled me in.
Did you see him
We
in the
need
World Cup though?
the World, yeah, but I can't, mate. The World Cup was an eternity ago to me. My memory ain't the best anymore. So, I can only remember what I had for dinner last night. Greek yogurt, actually, for people that really want to know. There you go, a really healthy, nutritious breakfast. But getting back to it, getting back to it, I think we need support. Like you said, he can play on the wing. We need support for Brennan Johnson, don't we? Brennan Johnson needs help, or needs whatever people think of him. He needs help. Maybe the help and rest will get the best out of him. We have got options on the left, even though it is Son and Werner and Mikey Moore coming back. But the only other option at the moment is Kulusevski, isn't it? I honestly feel when you move Kulusevski out there, you're missing a massive chunk of his game for being out there. So if it can happen, it can happen. But I would rather, if I had to choose Skriniar or Muani to come in first, it'd be Skriniar.
It's interesting though, because Ange Postecoglou was speaking in his press conference last night in the embargo section. Don't know if you heard it,
No.
but he was talking about options coming in. He was saying that Dom Solanke has been run into the ground at the moment.
Yeah.
Minutes after minutes after minutes. The effort that he's putting in is quite unbelievable in a Spurs shirt so far, particularly in the last month. And he actually said, "Help is coming." And the interviewer goes, "Does that help mean players coming back from injury or a new signing?" And he said both.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he was alluding to Randal Kolo Muani?
I think he may have been, but also when you say help is on the way, could that also be to get him the ammunition that he needs, not just replacing him? So it's a take the answer how you feel, but like I said, from what I'm hearing and what you've been saying as well, it looks like Spurs are very, very interested in getting this deal over the line. It's just whether they can overcome the obligation or option sticking point.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think if it does happen, I do think it's going to progress quite fast over the next couple of days. So let's see what happens on that one. Another new name that's been thrown into the mixing pot is Marcus Rashford. As Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail says that Tottenham, Milan, and Dortmund want Rashford on loan. However, any deal would hinge on a big proportion of wages being paid by Manchester United because he's on 325,000 grand at the moment. Those are his current wages. And another sticking point would be the size of the fee in terms of the obligation to buy that would be attached to the loan move. Ben Jacobs does say no talks so far have been made between Spurs and Marcus Rashford camp. However, the player has been interested by Spurs, or Spurs have been interested by the player in the past. Well, first of all, do you think this is a deal that could potentially be done? Do you think Man United would subsidise wages for him to come to Tottenham? And second of all, would you like to see him at the club?
I think Marcus Rashford is actually a very, very good player. When he is on form, he is lethal. He is devastating. He can offer so much, but he seems to be one of those, I need an arm, I need to feel loved. And obviously he's not getting that love at Manchester United. A couple of years ago, or even last year, I would have been all over this. I really would have. Because I think if you get him at the right club and he can find someone and enjoy his football again, he could be an incredible acquisition. The wages, I just can't see it. With Man U being where they are and where we are right now, will Man U let him go to a direct rival? I woke up this morning to see Sky Sports apparently gone over to Italy or Germany to talk to Milan. His agents have gone to Milan or or Dortmund to speak. I just can't see this deal happening. And I don't know if Marcus Rashford coming right now will be the right move for him or us. Especially with the amount of wages paid, I would rather get others in. What are you feeling about it, Ben?
Well, when I first heard about a month ago now, or 3 weeks ago, that Rashford wants to leave or he is going to be leaving in the January transfer window, my first kind of initial thoughts was, no way, stay away from this guy. We don't want him
Yep.
at the club. I've watched him play for Man United a lot over the last 6 months, and I felt like a lot of his performances have been embarrassing, to say the least. Doesn't work hard. His
Yep.
pressing's been all off the place. But he's a player with immense talent, in my opinion. I really think he's got proper talent. I think on his day, he can be one of, if not, one of the best left wingers in the Premier League. Having thought about it a bit more, I feel like he just needs a new change of scenery, a new setting. I feel like it's just gone very stale for him at Manchester United. I think
Yep.
if he does move on and finds a new opportunity that he can really buy into, I think he can get that form back. However, would I want to put money on the table for an obligation and say, yeah, I want to invest long term into Marcus Rashford? No, I won't. But if there's an opportunity to say we can get him on a 6-month loan deal with only an option to buy, no obligation, I think that could be good to add reinforcements into that front line for 6 months, and someone of quality that really needs to prove himself. So I think it could work.
We'll have to see if it happens. I mean, I honestly think he's one of those guys, like when Harry Redknapp used to take players and players just used to click for a manager. I think maybe the way Ange Postecoglou plays, it could be the exact manager to get him back and loving football and being front foot, because what he can offer from that left side as well. Again, he can double up as help for Solanke, couldn't he? But he's devastating on the left when he's on form. Regularly getting 20+ goals in seasons for Manchester United in the past. He is a player that if he can find his mojo, kind of like what we had with Dele Alli, wasn't it? He lost his mojo, and if you can find it again, my God, you've got a bargain. But
Never found it again.
Yeah, but the wages, I mean, how much would Spurs be willing to pay? That is a massive.
Well, you look at it. We literally just handed them Sergio Reguilon last year to help them out. So now it's time to return the favour, and they're desperate to get him out.
Yeah, I can't see Man U doing that somehow. But listen, you never know. You never know. If you look at it, what do you say, 325 grand a week? So if we look at Timo, he's rumoured to be on 165. So that's pretty much slashing half that wage. If they said we'll go 50-50, does that then become a appealing deal to Tottenham? Because they can certainly cover that.
I think so.
They can certainly cover it.
Straight up 6-month loan deal. I think that's something that Spurs should do.
Yeah, I mean, do you not reckon though Manchester United would have a obligation or option to take him, a very strong option to take him?
Yeah, but you look at it, it depends where Rashford's at. Like, if he really wants to stay in the Premier League and we're the only viable option for him, and he doesn't want to go to a Dortmund or a Milan, Man U are a bit of a in between a rock and a hard place, because they don't want him in the squad. They don't want to give him minutes. And it's better getting half the wages off the book than no wages off the book.
Yeah, it's true.
Depends where his head's at.
Is it going to be the Daily Muani and the Daily Rashford?
We'll see what happens. But yeah, I did hear, like you, that Rashford's agents were in Milan speaking. So maybe, I'm talking absolute rubbish and he's going to end up in a Milan or a Dortmund. So we'll see what happens there.
Exactly.
Next up, we're going to talk about another new name that's been put into the mixing pot, and Douglas Luiz, former Aston Villa, current Juventus player. Mirko Di Natale, Tutto Juve, says that Tottenham are on the trail for Douglas Luiz. Spurs want a midfielder like the Brazilian, although currently there are no negotiations with Juventus. And Tutto Sport says that Tottenham are keen on signing Douglas Luiz this month. Fulham have made a concrete move for the Juventus midfielder, but are now worried that Spurs could hijack the transfer should they formalise their interest with an approach. And there were kind of various other reports saying that Villa are looking to take him back, and also Man City could be interested as well. So I'm not sure where those Fulham links came from, but he's a player who I'd love to see at the club as well.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. The worry one about that is obviously Man City, especially the robbery situation. I think this guy brings skill. I think this guy brings energy. I think that this guy's got Premier League experience. I don't think there's a box he doesn't tick to really bring genuine quality to this. This would be I would be delighted and over the moon if we can get this deal done, if it's possible. Out of everyone, this is the mouth-watering one to me.
And also with him, he obviously knows Johan Lang very well with their time at Villa together.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, Lang didn't actually sign him. Yeah, Lang joined the year after Douglas Luiz joined, but obviously they were still at the club together for a while. You've also got the Paratici connections with Juventus, who he's at now. So there are a few little connections there that might make this deal a bit possible. It just depends on how much Juventus would actually want. They signed him in the summer for 21 million plus Baranchea and Illing Jr. So that's 2 loan players and 21 million. So it'd be interesting to see how much they would actually want from him. And I just don't understand what's gone wrong for him there, because I just thought he was his top quality player, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, that's the kind of player I wish we'd got rather than him going to Juventus and signed him originally. That if you added that to the mix, then that makes that window a hell of a lot different, doesn't it? The summer window. A great player, and especially when our midfield at the moment with the injuries, the suspensions, Bentancur's long ban obviously included in that, the injuries that keep happening, this guy could be there, and he's a warrior, isn't he? He's an absolute warrior. And I would absolutely love this one to come true.
And last but not least, we're going to talk about Johnny Cardoso, as US men's national team insider Tom Boga says it's possible that Johnny Cardoso does leave Betis this January. Tottenham are interested, but there are also interest from other clubs in England and in Spain. And I heard rumours of even the likes of Manchester City looking at Johnny Cardoso at the moment. He's having a brilliant season with Betis. And obviously teams above Betis in the league are looking at Johnny Cardoso to bring him in, which is an interesting one, because obviously we've got that option for I think a fixed fee of 25 million at the start of July for the first week or two. But we've also got a deal in place that if anyone signs him, we get 35% of the fee. So it'll be interesting to see which way this one goes. But in the case of bringing him in this January, it's another one which I'd love to do, because he's someone that adds real steel to the midfield. I think he's a better out-and-out 6 than anyone that we've got. And I also think that when you're looking at Bentancur and Bissouma, I think you need to start looking at potentially over the next 2 windows, moving them on and getting their successes in.
Yeah, I with this, I don't know if bringing him in, like I said, the deal comes in for us in July, and if teams come in now and start a bidding war, does that, what can we do about it? We don't get any advantage apart from obviously being able to profit from the sale. I would rather focus on Douglas Luiz. I really would, and roll the dice to see if he's available in the summer if no one does take him. But he has been having a good season there. And we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this one. But I mean, if someone said to you now, bring in Cardoso and he Spurs through and through and stays, or roll the dice until the summer and bring in Douglas Luiz, who are you saying?
I'd probably say Douglas Luiz.
Yeah.
If we could over the next 2 transfer windows replace Bissouma and Bentancur with Luiz and Cardoso, I think that would be incredible business. Yeah,
it would be. It would be. That would add what we need, isn't it? We really do need engines in that midfield. Just what we're sorely lacking. And those 2 certainly have that. So if that could happen, because I think regardless, Ben, over the summer, one of Bentancur or Bissouma have got to be out there. And if I had the choice, it'd be Bissouma. So we got to start looking at replacements, haven't we? And hopefully Spurs do their due diligence and get the right ones in. The jury's out on that part, but Douglas Luiz and Johnny Cardoso coming in the summer, I'll take that all day long.
Brilliant. Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Brian, thank you very much for joining me once again. Everyone do go and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour, the great channel led by Mr. Daigle here. But thank you very much for coming on once again. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.